Why do Christians believe justice is important for victims?
We know that in this world, perfect justice rarely exists. In fact, our own longing for justice is frequently prompted by its absence. But for Christians, justice is a virtue. In fact, it's known as a cardinal virtue. Cardinal coming from the Latin word for heart, cardo, meaning that justice is a basic virtue required for the moral life. Doing justice is not optional. Learning how to be a just person and working for justice more widely are part of what it is to be a Christian. One of the greatest Christian theologians, St. Thomas Aquinas, would describe justice as rendering someone their due. The act of justice is simply giving to someone what is rightfully theirs. We might say that justice is straightforwardly what the human person deserves. Therefore, justice is not the same as fairness. Fairness is too weak a category on its own. Giving someone their due is not the same as simply equaling something out when things have become unbalanced, or a nice attempt to wipe the slate clean. Justice responds to a given reality by rendering someone or a group of people their due. When someone has been hurt, abused, or wronged, justice is always the correct and truest response. It not only addresses a person's need, but perhaps more importantly, also recognizes their inherent dignity. The human person deserves justice in the Christian tradition because every single person is created in the image and likeness of God. For that reason, among others, revenge towards another, even in the most heinous and terrible of situations, cannot be a just act. Justice can't be about getting even. Justice for victims recognizes their inherent, unbreakable worth. Not to act in a way which restores justice to victims is to live in a world which is on a destructive path, and ultimately, where those who choose to withhold justice will not be able to experience justice themselves.
Is peace an impossible dream?
Peace is not a dream. It is a reality, a condition which characterizes God and God's ways with the world. Sure, there are examples of good negotiated agreements at the end of wars. There are plenty of moving stories about how the principle of non-violence really can win through, even in some of the hardest of circumstances. But when the biblical writers talk about peace, this is much more than simply an absence of violence. Biblical peace, in Hebrew shalom, has a positive quality about it. It is a peace which binds people together in love. It shapes communities and heals divisions. One of the ways in which the writer of Psalm 85 describes God's salvation, God's glory, is that justice and peace have kissed each other. This is a beautiful image of what the social life of the kingdom of God looks like. Christians believe that this kind of peace will be fully known at the end of time. But before then, we can know it and experience it in our hearts through prayer, and in our relationships through mutual acts of love, compassion, and forgiveness. Christians are called to be agents of reconciliation, peacemakers. Peace and justice belong together because they relate to the character of God. So often, amidst the violence and bloodshed of the world, it can seem as if peace is an impossible dream. But Christ has come to break the cycle of human violence and greed. As he tells us in the gospel, "Take courage, I have conquered the world."
Should Christians always forgive those who do wrong to them?
The short answer is yes. Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us, Jesus teaches his followers in the Lord's Prayer. The slightly shocking implication is that it's through learning to forgive others that we will know ourselves forgiven. When Jesus is asked how many times we should forgive one another, some clever person asks him, even 7 times? And Jesus gets his own back, making a similarly rhetorical point. Not just 7, but 70 times 7. Forgiveness is a central Christian virtue and a fundamental Christian practice. Reconciliation with God and one another is right at the very heart of the Christian story. Without it, the gospel is meaningless. Jesus' entire ministry, his birth, death, and resurrection, show the kind of generous relationship which is offered to all those who believe in him and who are willing to receive that gift. It is a ministry of reconciliation. That is not to ignore or nullify the painful and destructive reality of evil, nor is it to undermine how painful it is when someone hurts us or behaves in a way which abuses or undermines us. No one has ever said forgiveness is easy. It's often one of the hardest things to achieve. We have to practice it, to decide to forgive, to let go of other easier tendencies, resentments, and hurts. Forgiveness is not pretending that the world, other people, and ourselves are exactly as we should be. Forgiveness is certainly not forgetting. But it is to say that pain, retribution, and fear cannot have the final word for the Christian on anything. Reconciled communities, reconciled individuals, a reconciled creation. These are fundamental ingredients of what Christians call the new creation, God's ultimate design for the world. Ultimately, only love is credible. As Martin Luther King Jr. famously said, "Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that."